going to do today is I'm not going to sell you any platform, tell you how to do things better. I'm not really here to explain even what the Uber business model is all about. Really what I would like to have today is a conversation about what's happening in the industry, what's happening for us, what changes are happening, and how it affects what we do and how the brand should behave. And Uber is actually the best example for that. It's a really good metaphor for everything that's happening in the world today and how we should face what's coming in the market. So what is happening? Disruption, which is the theme of the conference, right? And disruption that is fast and furious, disruption that can take business models out of the market in no time. So ask the taxi drivers, ask the hotels, ask pretty much any industry, and you will see how technology and the behaviors around technology have had an incredible impact in how they run business and what the expectations of everyone's are. And this is the theme. It's not to paint you a depressing vision of what's happening. On the contrary, I want us to understand that actually this is not new. I don't know how many of you heard about Advantix. This came just before the digital revolution. This was Kodak's answer to having a better picture taken with a lot of digital information embedding into the film, but still selling film. This came in 1996. By 2 years later, it was pretty much dead because everybody would have digital cameras. The quality got much better, much faster. And then came the smartphones, and basically everything was through the roof, and Kodak is no longer the way it used to be. So technology is disrupting this business. Technology and ideas that are really changing the way we do things. Remember Blockbuster? Same. Along came streaming and Netflix, and suddenly what seemed to be an empire that would never change, it's gone. And you could ask yourself, what's happening in our industry? How are we coping with those changes where technology is making things progress so fast? And the speed of the change is what really dramatizes the times now. These things have been happening since the invention of time. There's always something new. There's always a new technology replacing what was there before, and in many ways, getting people to a better place. But somehow, the speed of the change is very hard to cope with. So this is what we are going to talk about today. And we are living in the Uberization of everything. We are living in a world that everything is being affected in a very similar way. I found this incredible chart. If you're looking for a new business idea, just look at what are the places that are not taking yet, right? So whether it's the Uber of this or the Tinder of that, Birchbox is a subscription services for cosmetics, Airbnb. There's always the new Uber of something, right? So what does it mean for us? What is the new Uber of advertising? What is the new Airbnb of media or the new Tinder of agency pitches? And this is what we need to try to put in context, give some perspective to what's happening. So we are not going to find the next thing. And that's what I'm trying to talk to you about today. It's not really about finding the new thing, but it's really understanding what's happening in the market today and how we could deal with that. Traditional concepts like brand building and reach and everything goes out of the window when the consumer has so much choice around them. And when, no matter how much I believe in your brand and what you're doing, goes, again, through the window when I have the power of checking a different price, a review of what someone is saying. People never care about advertising, but they care even less now when they have so many tools, so much information at their disposal, and then whatever you say about your product is questioned all the time. So in this context, what's our role? And what can we learn from this Uberization of everything? What I will try to do is to kind of point out the things that I think Uber, again, Uber as a metaphor, not Uber the company or anything, but Uber as a metaphor of what's happening, has brought to the table. It happened to all of us. You need a taxi, they're never there. It rains, they wouldn't take you. If it's the shift time, they wouldn't take you. It's a service that is not at their top. Suddenly came a company that says, you can have your car whenever you want, anytime. Just open the app and you get it. Amazing, right? So addressing the demand in real time is the biggest change of what Uber and the technology in general is helping us to do. And this is super important because it's not just a better product. It's dramatically and overnight change the expectations of people. So it's not just about, OK, this company is better than the other one, or this service is better than the other one. It's like, now I want everything to be like that. I want everything at the top of my phone. And I just want to ask for it, and I want to get it done right now. Uber also made an incredible effort in removing the complexity. Sometimes getting to something done is complicated. There are many apps in the market as well offering different things. Today, you just say where you want to go. Sometimes even predicts where you want to go. You just tap a button, and then your car is there in a few minutes. You know where it's coming. There's a lot of information there that will help you. This is also very critical. In a world that is increasingly complex for us as marketers and for people to deal with all the messages and all that's happening around, to oversimplify things, to really get everything out of the way, to help me get done what I want to do, is super critical. If we can swipe out all the stuff that is non-essential and get to the point. So that's something that this Uberization is bringing, that we need to think through how we deal with that, how we deal with that with the consumer, how we deal with that with the agencies, with the clients. The third thing that it's bringing is efficiencies. So by having a system and a back end that uses data in the way they use it, they can bring a lot of efficiencies for everybody. So, of course, there's efficiency in running the business. That's why they can keep the price down. Efficiencies that are passed to the consumer in the form of better prices. I don't know if that passes to the driver as well. That's a different story. But there's a lot of efficiencies and things that can be done better, faster, and cheaper. And Uber Pool is also solving a big issue. I can share my ride, and I can get to places and pay less. It's solving bigger issues like, well, with more cars doing carpooling, with more people relying on public transport rather than their own car, we're also helping to have less traffic and help the environment in a larger sense. So the whole sharing economy is working in that direction. There's a lot of efficiencies. Now, again, let's look at our business. Are we able to deliver the same things? Because expectation is really up there. The last thing, and it's not minimum, is feedback, right? The ability to rate drivers and passengers is essential to Uber's success. First of all, because it gives people a voice. If I'm not happy with this, I can say it. If I'm happy, I can say it. It gives them also a very clear standard of what the service should look like, and anybody who drops below, I think it's 4.6 or something, gets reviewed. Therefore, they ensure a great service all the time. So this is part of keeping the system sane. And again, when we look back at what we do, how are we doing in all these areas? Are we really able to meet consumers' demands in real time and our clients' demands in real time? Are we basically removing, simplifying things or making things more complicated? Are we bringing savings back? Are we bringing a more efficient system back or not? And are we giving the people the possibility to pass us feedback and act on the feedback? The most important thing is, like, do we act on the feedback? We know sometimes we were doing right or wrong, but do we act on the feedback? So this became a big monster today, really, because people are not expecting this from Uber alone or from the apps or from the tech companies. People are expecting this from everyone, right? Everybody wants things right now. Absolutely right now. I want things to be my way. I want things to happen right now. I want my demands met. I want it cheaper. I want everything. So this is the kind of new consumer that we have. It's a consumer that is not forgiving because they will also rate us. They will rate the brands. How they rate the brands? They just don't choose them. How they rate the advertising? They just don't look at it. And the clients are also behaving like that. Mark Pritchard, Global Brand Office from P&G. This is what he's got to say. And we need to listen, right? Your complexity, talking to agencies, should not be our problem. So we want you to make that complexity invisible. So the expectation is that we make things faster, simpler, cheaper, right? And this is what's happening. It's like, we are like, whoa, hold on, really? That's crazy. But you know, we can say whatever we want. We can be the taxi driver saying, like, Uber, go home, right? But honestly, they're not going anywhere. This is here to stay. If we put it all together, what are the key takeouts? And how can we apply that to brands and to ourselves? So to brands in meeting the consumer's demands, to ourselves in terms of meeting the client's demands. First of all, we need to provide value, value in the broad sense. Brands need to have a purpose, and brands need to solve something from the client. By the way, I've never seen an ad from Uber. Yes, sometimes a banner here and there, but I've never seen an ad from Uber. I didn't choose Uber to bring me from A to B because I love their advertising or I love what they believe in. I just choose Uber because it's solving a great problem for me. Taking to the world of brands, what problems are we solving? Why this brand is here in the world for? What it's trying to achieve? So we need to be valuable. We need to be timely. We can't lag, right? It's not about, yes, we'll get it, but wait for us until we get this or that. No. We need to actually be at the right time, in the right moment, being there in the way they want. We need to be really, really timely. And simple. And you cannot underestimate how big this is. It's such a complex world. It's always been about choosing. And if we can make things simple, that goes a long way beyond anything else. Remove the complexity of everything we do. Why trying to get people to overthink things? Just go to the point in the best possible way. The one that maybe Uber doesn't stress out that much, but it's very relevant for us, which kind of wraps it all together, is being magical. Today, we can do anything, right? Our phones are a magic wand that can get anything that we want. And with our communications, one fantastic opportunity is that we could interact in a very magical way. Today, we can do stuff that we could only dream of some 2 or 3 years ago, even. And suddenly, it's like the world of communication has become a world of infinite possibilities for real. You are not restricted to anything today. You can do pretty much anything you want as far as you have the idea. So let's look a little bit more into what it means for brands. Google this guy, Joseph Pine. There's a fantastic talk on TED Talks. He talks about the progression of economic value. And this kind of gives us context to what brands should do and how they should behave today. At the beginning, it was all about commodities, selling something, selling coffee, right? And that's how the industrialization of the world happened. Here are all the goods that you can buy, and then you get what you want. Very soon it became products and brands. And it was all about having the perfect product benefit and the perfect positioning. That's how marketing evolved and where it's going today. Then it became about the service. It's not just about selling the products, right? But it's also giving you a service, doing something for you. Brands were very much into, okay, how can we actually be more useful in your life? And that's something that we shouldn't lose, because otherwise you get commoditized. A brand that doesn't have a clear proposition is like any other brand. A brand that doesn't provide a service, again, goes back into that. But what we are living today, and going past that, is experience, right? You go and pay $10 for a coffee at Starbucks, not because it's much better than that one down there. It's just because the whole experience is somehow fulfilling your needs. I want to have a moment for myself. I want to go and do some work. I want to do and catch up with friends. I want to have my home outside my home, or my office outside my office. That's what Starbucks is doing. At a bigger world, this is what we need to go back to when we talk about communication. Forget optimizing that video. Forget putting this in the right channel. Forget about programmatic. It's like, as a whole, are we understanding what the brand means for people and what the brand is doing for people? What kind of experience are we creating? So that's probably the very first thing that we need to look into when we work for any brand. And today, this is so true. Brand is as brand does. I don't care about your beliefs. I don't care about what you're saying your product does. What I do care is, are you actually doing any of that? Is it relevant to me? Is it now? Is it more efficient? Is it solving a problem for me? So when we try to connect, we need to understand in which world we live in. When we're trying to connect with brands, before we look into any funny idea or entertaining idea or anything, we need to understand, what are we trying to do? What problem is this brand solving? How relevant is this product or brand in people's lives every day? I would argue that this is very much about movies versus theme parks. And we were in an industry, we were used to do movies, right? We were in an industry that we need to come up with the best story for our brand. And today, people don't want to listen to stories anymore, or it's not just that. People today, they want to experience it. They want to be there. They want to feel what the brand is all about. They want to go to the Harry Potter theme park and play with the wands and do it themselves. They want to be the wizards. And if we can tune into more of the theme park mentality rather than the story mentality, the film mentality, I think we're going to get much, much closer. So what does it mean now for us? I mean, this is how brands should behave, but what does it mean for us? Are we delivering value, right, to our customers, to our clients? Are we delivering things in a timely way? Are we still taking 1 month to come up with an idea? Are we simplifying? Are we actually removing the complexity? Are we being magical? So let's look at that. And I will fast here. I have, I think, 5 minutes left. If the creative agency looks like it did 10 years ago, we are in trouble. And just look around. Let's see, right? And there's a lot of structures that are legacy that still are holding there like the taxi drivers. And we need to bypass that. Now, the solution is not either, let's find the next big thing. Which one of these competing technologies is going to be the best, right? Which one is going to make a difference? Actually, clients are also worried about, everybody's pulling me in different directions. Everybody says that this is the best thing, and this is going to solve your problems. And if you do programmatic, you will get that. And if you actually use Twitter, you'll get that other thing. But let's go back and let's try to see what can we learn from that. Human first. Let's not forget we are doing this for consumers, and consumers are humans, and you are humans, and your clients are humans. Let's go back to humanity. Let's remove the jargon. Let's go to the simplicity of what we are trying to do. People connect with human truth. People connect with human ideas. Everything else is optimizing. But we need to make sure that we are at that level connecting for sure. How much technology do we need? Yes, we do need technology. We need to be better at that for sure. But sometimes it's just too much. And sometimes the war is too much on technology. I still had to get into a room and be able to plug my laptop and project something without spending half an hour with the IT person. And it could be done easier. Are we attracting talent? Because talent doesn't want to work for agencies anymore. There are many outlets out there from within the industry, media companies, consultants, to Facebook and Google's, to doing their own thing and having pools of talent. So the options are many. Frenemies, we need to have frenemies. I mean, we are all competing, but at the same time, nobody has the answer to everything. We need to actually get together and do stuff together and have our ecosystems of partners that can deliver what we need to do today. Design thinking and maker culture, we need to make our ideas relevant, and by that we need to do stuff. We cannot just think and throw things hoping that they will stick. We need to try several things. We need to do stuff, even if it's not perfect. I don't know if you remember this Nivea doll from Brazil from 2 or 3 years ago. You can actually give it to kids so they can put sunscreen, and they will realize on the doll how they had to protect from the sun. Google if you don't know it. I found it in Singapore 2 weeks ago. Now they're selling it in Singapore 2 years later. Of course, when it came up, it didn't have worldwide distribution, but it's an idea that grew as it was successful and became now a success everywhere. Feedback, let's listen and take feedback seriously from our clients, from the consumers. And then back to ideas and stories. Storytelling is the greatest technology that humankind has. And we forget about that. We are so lost into new technologies, new apps, and how to optimize this and that. And we forget that we are here, our core relevance to the clients is to come up with great stories. Stories that are no longer just on TV or on print. Stories that have to live in the real world, but still, it's all about telling great stories and immersing people with those stories, allowing people to be there and experience those. It's one of my favorite moments of Mad Men, the Kodak pitch, the Kodak carousel, right? And when trying to deal with that and looking at that as a spaceship, right, the way that it was briefed, Don Draper comes and says, this is not a spaceship, this is a time machine. This is actually nostalgia. This is actually going to what this does for people. It's not the product, it's actually the experience of reliving your memories and kind of getting more human with that. And this is what we have to do for our clients and do for our people. These guys, they had the startup mentality more than us. They didn't have a model to follow. They were not advertising people. They were researchers, salesmen, businessmen, right? They were writers. These guys who are on our agencies' doors, whose names are on the agency doors, are the ones who had this mentality of let's connect, let's do something that works better. And that's what it's all about. Let's recover that, because this is what we really have to do today more than anything in this very, very complex world. So yes, I'm on for that. I love the change that's happening because it's helping us to focus and have more meaningful conversations with brand and consumers. Thank you.